years of recognizing excellence, 10 years of identifying champions. Hello and welcome you with us here on the 10th edition of Leaders of Tomorrow. I'm Sunanda Jay. We will continue to handhold you, the small business owner, as you prepare for growth, bringing you all the strategies and all the advice that you need along the way. Tonight, it's my absolute privilege and pleasure to introduce someone who's joining us live on the show, someone who needs no introduction. He's been on everyone's mind over the past 2 years of the pandemic. He's also someone who's been very closely associated with us in the past, being one of the awardees of the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards way back in 2016. We're inviting on the show today Dr. Krishna Ella of Bharat Biotech. Watching and reading an interview that you did where you said that Covaxin is India's nuclear moment, and you've really shown us to be a medical superpower, a pharma superpower, really putting India firmly on the global map. My question to you, Dr. Ella, what has this experience, if I can call it that, of the pandemic over the past 2.5 years, what has this journey really been like for you? Because for most of us, even stepping out of the houses in 2020, for instance, that was a terrifying moment. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what was happening around us, what was possibly going to happen. But you didn't have that choice. You had to be at the forefront, really innovating and ensuring that you're coming out with that drug that's eventually going to save lives. What has these 2 years, what has that really been like for you?
Thank you, Sunanda. I think I'm proud to receive the DT award in 2016. That's a time when nobody understands what Bharat Biotech is. Okay, it was so much important to me, honestly. Okay, coming to the journey, I'm a scientist. I don't look at it, what is a balance sheet and all those things. As a scientist, it's my profession. If science is required at a pandemic time, something has to solve. That's everybody's responsibility of the country. Everyone, every citizen who are in the scientific field, it is a responsibility to do something for the country at that time when a country is suffering. If you don't do that, that means you are not a good citizen of any country. Okay, so I think I looked at that angle, and also we've been having a background as a company working on a lot of pandemic vaccines before.
Yeah.
And way back, Sunanda, in 2019, December 5th, there was a Carnegie Mellon Foundation discussion in the pandemic issues in Bangalore city. And I was one of the panel speakers there. I said, if a pandemic comes, Bangalore city will be empty. All IT companies will close down. That's what exactly I said on 5th December 2019. But nobody took it seriously that time. And it came after 2 months, exactly what I predicted. And I mean, tell you this, it's not that I predict, but I was expecting something will happen to the globe. When you asked me the nuclear thing, I said, vaccine is like a nuclear. So the countries are becoming a national security issues, and vaccine can have an impact on the society itself. That is what I mean. And we've been working on those sort of things. Like, for example, we were the first company in the world to develop chikungunya vaccine. We are the first company in the world to file a global patent on Zika vaccine. Even US was not aware of Zika that time. We filed in 2015, July, a patent. That clearly shows we are ahead of the even pandemic time of Brazil. Okay, so that means I'm able to predict a lot of things in advance. But whether it comes or not doesn't matter. But I'm well prepared as a scientist. How country can be prepared? Sure. For me, if company prepares, only country can prepare.
Sure.
Okay, that is how I look at it. And we've been working on these sort of strategies quite right from the beginning. One of my vision as a company, believe in neglected diseases, work on neglected diseases. Because I'm a strong believer, you look at a neglected disease, mostly in the developing world, Africa, Asia, where they're developing all the neglected disease. And you look back all the pandemic, all pandemics are neglected disease in the early stages. And all neglected disease turn into be a pandemic.
Sure.
Whether yellow fever, Zika, chikungunya, malaria, SARS-1, SARS-2, MERS, all of them, Asia and Africa started. And it becomes a pandemic and goes to all over the world.
The overarching theme that we have here on the 10th edition of Leaders of Tomorrow is shaping entrepreneurs for the new age. How, in your opinion, has entrepreneurship changed? And what is your advice for someone who's watching about how they should prepare themselves and be ready for this new reality and for this new normal?
And I think, I think India is the only country is now start growing.
Yeah.
Now, many funds from all over the world,
Yeah.
whether US fund, retirement fund, Canadian fund, Russian fund, UK fund, whatever funds are there. There are countries are a lot of restriction now. They cannot go to those countries like Russia, they cannot go. China, they cannot go. South Africa, unrest, they can't go. Brazil, inflation, they can't go. There's only one country left in the world, is India. So every financial world is going to pour money into India. There's no choice. Okay, it's not by us, but they're going to pour it. India is the only country where the dynamic entrepreneurship is there. This is the only country entrepreneurship is driving the world.
Mm.
See, whether we are here or in Africa, Uganda, or you go to US, wherever there, Indian guys are entrepreneurs in a way. So I think this country offers a higher valuation than US also. Compared to even UK, compared to offers better valuation, this country. But you need to be patient.
Sure.
But you should not, suddenly compare with US company and IT companies. Life sciences takes time. You need to mature slowly and steadily. And I think this country offers tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs. There are bottlenecks, there are issues, but I think all will set right next 2-3 years. Because pandemic has shown how to change the regulatory system in the country, how to work public-private partnership. It taught us a lot of things. So things are coming into shape. And I think these are all going to help for the new generation entrepreneurs.
One thing we are all watching for, and a lot of us are personally invested in, is any updates on the nasal vaccine? Any time frame you can give us through this interview?
I mean, we just completed phase 2. 2 phase 2 trials we completed. And we are now in the phase 3 entering into it. I think we are expecting approval within this week from the CDSO, Dr. Somani. Once he gives up approval, I think we are ready to start the phase 3. That will be a very quick trial. So I think my expectation, I can't predict now. There are so much of issues in the country. So, but in 3 months, 3 to 4 months, certainly it'll be there now.
Sure. What does this say, this entire process of you coming up with this vaccine? And I was reading and watching an interview where you said that entire process really took you 2 months, and you did this end to end, the research, the manufacturing, putting it out in the market. It took you 2 months, and that's such a short frame of time. What does this say for Make in India as a brand and for vaccines and drugs like yours?
No, when the pandemic appeared, I want India to be there in the league. I'm very clear.
Yeah.
And if, as a scientist, if the India is not there, then we will not be there. So all the people will cover all the patents, and then we'll become lose out the game. Okay, then we'll be violating the patents. I don't want that to happen. So the ahead of the game is very important. That's how we partnered with the NIV and ICMR to get the strain. And fortunately, we are the only company in the world had a BSL-3 production facility. So this also clearly looks how we visualize the globe in a different directions. We created for a polio vaccine project for a BSL-3 production facility, and that came in right in handy. I said, okay, we don't want to look at too many technologies now. Let's put the technology which is doable, where we have a extremely good experience and knowledge. That is Viro cell culture inactivated platform. Many people said they don't have inactivated. Actually, inactivated, we have produced more than 7 vaccines, inactivated vaccine. I also thought vaccine adults means are dangerous. Adults are very sensitive people. Child is easy to vaccinate. You give a child vaccination and baby cries for 10 minutes, and you can just show some toy and divert the attention of the baby, but not adults. Adults are very sensitive people. So I looked at it, which platform can go from child to adults. That's how the inactivated vaccine came in our mind. This will go from child to the adult, And we predicted the virus will not stay with adults, it will go to children's house.
Okay.
Okay. And any pandemic will always lead into slowly into the children. And so we predicted that and we started working in that direction. It's not something we just jumped in without a knowledge. No, we had extremely good knowledge as a company.
Dr. Ella, I had to take a very quick break on that note. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. Our Leaders of Tomorrow icon tonight is none other than Dr. Krishna Ella of Bharat Biotech. You're making a very important point as far as the critics are concerned. So you've had your fair share of critics all along this journey, even as you're working against, tight deadlines, impossible deadlines, working at getting, all the approvals and the regulations and meeting all of those regulations. As an entrepreneur, if you can put on your entrepreneurial hat and really talk about what you would advise for our viewers to do in a situation where perhaps they're having critics, people don't understand what they're doing, they're coming up with, a unique product. Based on how you really handle this entire situation, what would you want to tell them?
No, I tell them, the critic is always better. There's nothing wrong in it. It's good, actually. The critic always brings the best in the people's opinion, opposite side. I believe in that. But that should be a constructive, in a positive manner. Okay? Yeah, he has not done the science like this. He should have done like this. No problem. I accept that, if anything. But without knowing the science, people doesn't have experience in vaccine field, doesn't have experience even writing one single publication in their life, but they get into the TV channel talking about all things. But if something I've not done a good science, I am welcome it. And somebody whom I know also, somebody can pick up a call to me, hey, Krishna, you should do like this, not do like this. Sure. I'm open for that. But people should, we have too many TV channels, get into everybody and talking all sort of things. And also I found one thing, Indian companies are soft attack. People can attack any directions you want on Indian company. But when you want to attack multinational, they don't. They're very cautious. They're worried about legal suits and all that. Indian company, okay, anybody can throw any mud on the people. And that is not good. We are also respected scientists. We also need some pride in ourselves, what we are doing to the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to take a step back and ask for you to really give us a very brief sneak peek into this entire process of coming up with this formulation, if I can call it that, if I've got the name right, to actually bringing the vaccine to market. Just very briefly, a sneak peek. I'm very curious to understand what that process was like.
The process is very simple, Sunanda.
Yeah.
A virus, if it affects a human being, it multiplies one virus into billion of virus particles in the body. Am I right? 1 billion particles, and it destroys the lungs and all other things. So what we are doing as a manufacturing company, we are taking the virus, putting into one of the animal cell line into the fermenter, in a big fermenter. You grow the cells. Now we're making the cells as like a human being to the virus. So virus attacks the cell and it thinks it's my human being, so I can multiply here. And it multiplies in the cell, and one virus multiplies into billion in one cell. So billions of virus particles are produced in a fermenter, and we purify the virus and kill them, inactivate. Inactivation means that we destroy the RNA inside. Once we destroy the RNA inside, the virus cannot multiply anymore. But when you make the formulation, inject into the human body, what body thinks is some virus particle has come to me. So now I should produce immune response. The difference between a live virus and inactivated virus, the live virus can multiply, inactivated virus cannot multiply, but it mimics exactly like a virus. So you are fooling the immune system of the body that virus is attacked, you start producing antibodies.
Sure.
So then you produce antibodies, that memory is there in the body. Whenever the live virus comes in, it protects the human being. So that's we looked at two things. One, do we have a platform technology? Do you expect purification? Yes. Then what we didn't have is, I know this inactivated vaccine will produce more B cell response, and I want a more T cell response. So we licensed one of the National Institute of Health, Washington. We used one of the adjuvant chemical, and we attached this chemical to the adjuvant into that, so that the virus, when it infects, when you inject into a human body, it goes to lymph node and it produces more T cell response. When I talking in last 18 months on T cell, nobody understood what T cells mean. And everybody, all other things you're talking, less immune response, less they're going and testing in the laboratory and all that. But T cell was important. But I predicted 18 months back. So now Nature publication came from UK just 1 week ago. Now they say T cell is the most important for COVID, which I predicted 2 years before. But now the evidence are coming from all over the world that T cell is crucial for the COVID virus. So what we hypothesized 2 years back, it turned out to be true today.
So what sounds to me at least like a very complex process, if you've managed to crunch this into a 2-month timeline, I'm curious, did you get any sleep at all, Dr. Ella?
No, see, we have good scientists, we have people, and each one has got a different domain expertise. Okay, somebody has got cell culture, somebody can grow billions of animal cells in the fermenter, somebody can grow virus different level, somebody can infect very well, somebody can purify very well. So it's a different domain expertise, and we built over 25 years the domain expertise of that, because we are the largest rabies vaccine manufacturer, we are the largest rotavirus manufacturers in the world, and we have produced the highest Japanese encephalitis vaccine, which is inactivated, rabies inactivated, and we are making injectable polio vaccine, which is inactivated. So we have quite a bit of domain expertise, not something came out just because of pandemic. We had a prior experience of that. So I think, what we have shown to the world, in a pandemic situation, one can put the platform technology and move on.
Sure. You raised a very important point, saying it's easy for people to criticize domestic companies compared to MNCs. What's it going to take for Indian businesses, I'm not going to look at any specific industry, to get taken seriously in your mind?
I think, these negative people will be there for some time, and they'll all go. Once people like me, another 10 entrepreneurs comes up in the country, then society will start believing what is the truth of this country is. Okay, and I think that will all change slowly. And it is an evolutionary process right now we are going through, because India has never developed an innovation. So there is a pessimistic outlook that India cannot develop. And some of the scientists' mind is, I never developed a vaccine. How come this idiot can develop a vaccine? So there's a jealous mind. All this will be a part of the society system, and all will change in the next 5 years.
My last question to you, sir, and this is a 2-part question. First, since we're speaking of the new normal, the 10 events that you think, or the 10 trends that you think are going to have an impact on entrepreneurs in the mid to short term, and as a second part of that, what is your outlook for 2022 that you can leave us with?
I think 2022 is going to be free from the COVID, but we are going to live with as a flu vaccine type of strategies. We are going to live with it, but it's not going to damage a lot of things. And I think by next month, by middle of next month, we should be all right. We should keep traveling. So I think just staying and relaxing, I think, is important. But business is going to change in 2020. Indian economy is going to grow. And I think this is the only economy which is going to go double digit compared to any other country in the world. And a lot of new generation entrepreneurs, everybody, pandemic, one thing, pandemic or any war, two things, gives you more entrepreneurs. You look at back US, any war has happened, they have built more innovation, more entrepreneurship have come in. And that happens even in pandemic. I'm a strong believer. Pandemic is going to help a lot of new generation entrepreneurs to explode in this country. Okay, a lot of ideas. What will come, and I think is going to be chosen by the society at large. But healthcare system is going to give a steady, stable business. But next one I'm seeing IT, physics, and chemistry, and life science. All of them are going to be together. It is not going to be separate. So you want a physics to be integrated into diagnostic? Yes, it will get it. And IT to be integrated? Yes, it's going to integrate into diagnostics and manufacturing process, all those things. Machine learning, yes, it's going to help the manufacturing process of the companies itself. So you don't need to service engineer. It can be put in our equipment, manufacturing equipment, connected to internet, and machine learning will tell what to be rectified. Okay, so all that, cars have come like that now. So I think these are all going to change. And we are seeing that changes in happening in other segments that are all going to integrate into the health science.
Such an absolute pleasure having you here on the show tonight, sir. More power to you for 2022. It's been an inspiring interview and conversation, definitely for me, and I'm sure for everyone who's going to be watching this interview. For those of you watching at home, if you have any feedback for us, as always, we love hearing from you. Do get in touch. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.